Hello everyone, welcome to Ansarkari. So today we'll be taking up the newspaper for 11th of January. So over here we have the first article regarding local power and local self-government, how that makes a difference to the lives of the people. So this is mainly talking in regards with the Tamil Nadu government, how it has appointed special officials for rural local bodies in several districts of the state. So the government has decided the ongoing reorganization of rural and urban local bodies, which will basically result in delimitation of wards for the local bodies. So, notification would be issued without completing the limitation and putting in place a quota of seats and officials for women, scheduled caste, and scheduled tribe. And over here, it is important to notice that Tamil Nadu is not the only state which has failed to hold local body polls on time. Big cities like Mumbai and Bangalore are also on this list. And even despite these shortcomings, the local self government does make a qualitative difference to people's life. So even in the Suresh Mahajan versus State of Madhya Pradesh case, Supreme Court had held that delimitation or formation of wards, it cannot be a legitimate ground which can be set forth by any authority less than the State Election Commission. Then we have the next article. Rare earth helps sustainability. The world doesn't need geopolitical conflicts over them. So this page is talking about a research on critical minerals and the transition to a net zero future and fourth industrial revolution. So basically, when we talk about rare earths, so rare earths are 17 elements of the periodic table called rare earth, and they basically offer a glimpse of water resource competition over minerals which might entail. So they're largely known and they're unknown, and they are indispensable for renewable resources and green tech. So the incident which made into highlights was when China unofficially and it briefly stopped the shipment of rare earth to Japan when Japan had arrested their crew. And this is what alarmed the major industrial economies when they realized that China was willing to use economic statecraft to settle a geopolitical dispute. And China, it has developed instruments of influences like the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and the Belt and Road Initiative, which is not just for infrastructure but it also covers other fields such as education, media, digital connectivity, security, etc. While it offers a developmentalist narrative of growth with sustainability. So, US to restrict China, it launched initiatives like the Mineral Security Partner, of which India is also a member. And when we talk about the new Trump administration, so that is not in favor of this regulation, and it denies the climate and emergency and opposes ECG standards as well. So now, what we must avoid is this green transition becoming a scramble of materials and basically another opportunity for developing economies to participate in just meaningful way today. And Greenland is also on the path to becoming a critical contributor to the net zero supply chain while fostering global practices in embracing the indigenous community as the driver of this. Then we have the next article. Food Security Act prevented stunting of 1.8 million kids. So this is talking about the success of the Food Security and National Food Security Act of 2013 and how the act prevented stunting of about 1.8 million children in 8 states. So what is stunting? Stunting is the impaired growth and development that children experience from poor nutrition, repeated infection and inadequate psychosocial stimulation. So it was found that an increase in PDS, which is public distribution scheme transfers, it improved dietary diversity and improves the consumption of nutrient dense food. Apart from that, it also increases the share of the food budget, which is spent on animal proteins, while it decreases the share spent on grains. So PDS transfer that reduced tenting by 7% points as compared to the 3.2% points which was during a positive rainfall shock cure. And they all suggest that a nutrition sensitive safety net like the PDS, supports food security and it makes children nutrition outcomes less sensitive to the local climate shocks which could affect the growth of crops as well. Apart from that, it also boosted the daily wages and welfare of the people. India's largest market for healthcare, PE, deals volume in Asia Pacific. So, healthcare healthcare private equity surged in 2024, which is led by large transactions across the globe. And if we see overall, North America, it continues to be the largest market, which represents 65% of global deal value, with Europe and Asia Pacific accounting for 22 and 12% respectively. Now, in this, when we talk about India, India has constantly delivered favorable returns and it has enabled range of successful exit for private equity firms as well. So, India's robust growth is expected to persist and healthcare spending projects will also increase to $320 billion by 2028 and multiple funds are increasing their exposure to healthcare. So we could also be we have the potential of becoming one of the largest markets when it comes to healthcare also because of the large population which works in the favor of this. Then we have the next article, symptom of a larger malady. Blinkit's 10-minute ambulance service highlights critical gaps in healthcare delivery. Now, this article is talking about speeding ambulance, which has now become part of the urban life across India. And for a longer time, ambulances they were only available at hospitals, and this was in the 1980s, when after 1980s when non-government organization they started to step in, which particularly began in South India to provide voluntary and free ambulance services. And if we reflect just a decade back, several state governments they have provided ambulance services for women in the reproductive age group of children below 5 years. This was mostly to transport expectant mothers to healthcare facilities when it comes to urban areas and even in the National Rural Health Mission. Ambulance services were introduced in the public private partnership mode. So, if we talk about now Blinkit, it launching a 10-minute ambulance service in Gurugram, and it says that their ambulance will be equipped with life-saving facilities for a patient transport. So now this expert in enormous pressure on the ambulance drivers as is the case of with delivery service providers. And there is much more variation of ambulance services across states like western states which includes Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Goa, also followed by the southern states with a larger private healthcare sector. So dominating the market for an ambulance service. So the basic life support ambulance service are equipped for immediate care like cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and only 12% of hospitals have provisions for specialized care during transportation. And over here, what we're basically talking about is the just expansion of ambulance services does not ensure quality. In fact, the lack of regulation of quality is a serious matter over here. So this includes lack of availability of assured ambulance services required and functioning equipment, trained staff and emergency. Then medical technician, they're serious which are looking at the increased longevity and contributing to the need for elder care as well as increasing incidence of health emergency. and provisioning of efficient and modern ambulance services will remain an attraction for private investment. However, when it comes to publicly funded services, public private partnership, and civil society, its sponsored services have a critical role in society that can afford cost private services. CEOs can't see. Asking employees to put in more hours of work at the cost of health, family life reaction shows lack of empathy. So this is regarding the increasing hours of work and 70 hours work week in 2023 and with other companies which are urging employees to put in 90 hours at work every week and to even for weekends work for the weekends in pursuit of professional excellence. This would basically lead to a lot of sacrifices when it comes to the employee's private life, as well as putting the health at risk. So, our workflow flows, which is already struggling with high stress, low income, fewer opportunities, and inadequate support system, the hard bottom line and the cold condensation could not be clearer. So, employees in Asian countries they work on an average of nearly 49 hours a week already when compared with 37.9 hours per week in North America and about 37 odd hours in Europe. So basically, a 24 by 7 work culture, it presupposes a luxury of a structure of support and care in homes. And it is important to realize that labor is not a commodity. And this is where most CEOs fail to see how they are also human. And it's important to realize that they too have a private life and they should not be sacrificing everything when it comes to growth, professional growth. Prime Minister. So in this article, the Prime Minister emphasizing on peace when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, and Israel and Palestine, and how India is basically a country which has always been in favor of peace. And we must talk about peace when it comes to the ongoing wars. So even for India to develop, we must prioritize the nation first without getting grounded by ideology and alteration. And when it comes to slogan of minimum government and maximum governments, this is where he also talks about this in sense of cooperative and fishery skills, cooperative and fisheries ministries. Then we have the next article talking about Assam mines. So it's talking about the water level at the flooded Rathore coal mine in Assam. And the mine is about 30 kilometers from Umrangso which is an industrial town with a cement plant and a hydropower project of a central public sector company. So these three mines they were believed to have been abandoned before the National Green Tribunal banned the coal mines in April 2014. And it is over here talking about the rat hole mines, which is a primitive and hazardous method of mining, which basically involves digging small tunnels and which are just large enough for a person to crawl through and to extract coal. So rat hole, it refers to the narrow pits which are dug into the ground and political parties are also clean. So there have been about 200 illegal rat hole mines in the area, out of which 60 are still active. Foreign leadership with India's youth power. So the National Youth Festival is also the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekanand and it is celebrated on January 12th. So here we can talk about the youth of the country and having a dynamic multi-state initiative which would engage and empower India's youth in the country's developmental journey. So this festival would have four stages this year. First would be a Bharat quiz, which would be held digitally on the My Bharat platform. And this would basically test the participants' knowledge about India's achievements, challenges, and visions for a developed future, which will cover areas such as sustainable development, technology, and national policies. So then they have the next stage, which is essay and blog writing, where they'll be asked to write for Viksit Bharat and empowering youth. And in the third stage, participant at the state level, they would present an innovative idea for India's development through compiling pitch deck. And in the final stage, the selected teams will basically pitch their solutions to the Prime Minister. So this is um, the overall framework. And when we talk about the National Youth Festival, so this is basically an annual celebration of India's youth, fostering a spirit of national integration and promoting the ideals of youth empowerment and creativity. So young people from remote areas of the country, they participate in these discussions, workshops, and they showcase their ideas and talents online. And when we talk about this youth festival, so this would focus on youth leadership, digital entrepreneurship, sustainable living, and sessions which will basically equip participants with skills which are necessary to drive change in the community. So this would also be direct engagement between youth and the key leaders as path breakers of various sectors. So that includes government, businesses, and academy. And apart from that, it would also recognize youth contributions. So over here, we'll also be talking about the Mera Yuva Bharat, which is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. And this plays an instrumental role in shaping and guiding the direction of the national youth festivals. When it comes to the future, youth is very important as they are what is going to frame the future of the country. India's journey so far on the AI military bandwagon. So India has begun to make strides towards integrating AI system with military and using them across various systems. So here we can talk about the Indrajal autonomous drone security system and India also being part of the multiple joint initiatives internationally which basically focus on AI. So, if we talk about the biggest issue over here, that is that data centers, which are required to run the AI system, they're very expensive. And even National Strategy for Artificial Intelligence, it outlines India's vision for deploying AI, while also puts forward principles for responsible AI uses, but it falls short in making military AI specific recommendations. So, the Defense Artificial Intelligence Council and Defense AI Project Agency, they have been set up and their objective is to basically bridge these gaps which are present. Also, India needs the clarity of vision with an attitude towards AI to make it possible to roll out these systems faster and catch up with the global wave. So, however, there appears to be some degrees of inconsistency with government regarding sentiments towards the military AI and also the Navy, Army, and Air Force. They have separate trainings and systems as well as communication practices. So that would significantly hinder the interoperability and procurement of systems for joint operations. And one of the issues with developing AI for defense is also the reliance on public sector units. So basically, India needs to make systemic changes to tackle issues such as the Indus service silo and over reliance on the PSU, which is the public sector unit. Now, this article is talking about the ongoing wildfire in LA, which has destroyed more than 10,000 buildings and killed 10 people. So, even as red flag winds conditions, they were expected until Friday afternoon. And any period of easing would basically allow social support from the air firefighters on the ground for aircraft and can drop water and fire retardant on flaming hills. So, when we talk about the Hearst fire, this was 37% contained, and the Lydia fire was 75% contained. So, firefighting crews they managed to bring the Sunset Fire in the top of the Hollywood Hills fully under control on Thursday. This is the Hearst one, and this is the Lydia one. Niti Aayog exploring ways to find balance between government and corporate debt market. So Niti Aayog is exploring ways to realign the balance between the very deep government debt market and the corporate debt market. And they would also examine the possible impact of any move which has been aimed at deepening the corporate debt market. So the balance between debt and government debt, and even we can talk about the government's net borrowing for financial year 25, which has been pegged at rupees 11.63 lakh crore. So India can adopt an approach which is a blend between banking dominant system and the more risk one dominated by the capital market. So this article is talking about India's tiger population and how the bounce is back in a certain well-protected pockets and big cats. So we have evidence which suggests that tigers have been testing the limit of their subcontinental range for quite some time, and they're adapting a negotiation of the non-forest landscape while remaining mostly out of sight. So even small green patches, it can help them travel through landscapes started with villages, and over the last 2 decades, long distance of dispersal of male tigers, it has been well documented. And male tigers they tend to walk longer distances and have a larger territory which encompasses smaller territories of multiple female tigers, and how every male tiger establishes its own territory when it comes of age. So also, without adequate monitoring, tiger dispersal through non-forest areas in human habitation, fair and or human and animal conflict, which would erode the goodwill of national animal banks. So disposal routes are popular with tigers indicating the potential for developing and protecting new habitat. And the big cat, it may reclaim the lost ground. Why fact checkers have been dumped by Meta? So, Meta recently announced changes in the content moderation across itself in the US, and it would basically eliminate the fact checking labels from fact checkers, replacing them with community notes. So, till now, fact checkers and experts they were certified by the International Facts Checking Unit network, and they would independently review and rate potential misinformation by citing their original reportage, interviewing primary sources, and consulting public data while analyzing media. So, Meta would ensure that the content rated as false was less visible to users. So, super talking when we talk about the community notes. So, community notes was first piloted as a program which is called Birdwatch, and this is was what which basically allowed users to add facts and content below a specific post. So the challenge that community notes may not be as effective in stopping the spread of misinformation from one platform to another, as their ability to capture the nuance goes into fact checking political news have also been questioned. So it is important that community notes be as effective or more effective than the fact checking units. Coffee is good for you, but only in the morning. So there's been a study which states that people who drink coffee in the morning reap benefits that are not seen by those who consume it later in the day. And morning coffee drinkers, they were 16% less likely to die of any cause and 31% less likely to die from cardiovascular diseases than those who do not consume the beverage. So, this was based on the data which was collected from adults who participated in the US National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey between 1999 and 2018. And it highlighted the nutritious impact that the consumption of coffee has on human sleep, while it also suggested that drinking coffee is beneficial for the human health. So 2024 year was the first year to breach the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. And with global emissions continuing to grow, this was very much expected. So, global warming science says that climate impacts are expected to become more severe and frequent as the warming is increasing. So, it does not mean that 1.5 target, which was mentioned in the 2015 Paris Agreement, is over, and it refers to long term temperature trends, which are usually over 2 to 3 decades, not annually or monthly. So, 1 or 2 years that exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre industrial level does not apply, that the Paris Agreement has been breached. And 2024 has now become the warmest ever year, taking over from 2023, which was at 1.45 degrees Celsius, warmer than the pre industrial levels. So over here we can talk about El Nino, which has a general warming effect even underwater volcanic eruptions near Tonga in southern Pacific Ocean on January 2022, and lower sulfur dioxide emissions from the shipping industries in 2024 could have also contributed to the warming. Even sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere reflects some solar radiation, which prevents it from reaching the earth. So basically, an increase in the solar energy reaching the earth during the solar maximum phase could have contributed to these warmings. There's 50% chance of the 5 year average of annual temperatures, which goes up to 2028, exceeding the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. How Mahakumbh is a pitching ground for bands. So Mahakumbh, it is attended by about 400 million people, and it is a very nice business opportunity as well. So this makes the event a pitching ground that no brand wants to miss. And the countries would be spending 3,000 crore, and up to 1 crore brands have been may spend for significant visibility. So different brands have contributed or looked at different ways of advertising, like changing rooms been made by Dabur Amla and Batika. So even special baby care rooms, which basically shows how different brands are looking at different ways to advertise in this. And then we talk about the Mahakumbh. So that is held once in 12 years. So with local brands over here, also hospitality brands are also competing with each other and they're offering accommodation at all price points. So over here, one thing that is very evident in Mahakumbh is the religious tourism, which is also a very important part of the strategic growth plan and overall even a nice pitching ground when it comes to brands. So we have ITDC, Mother Dairy. New classification may ease approval for medical devices. So the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, it has drafted rules for reclassification of medical devices based on their risk profile. And this is done at the state and central level based on the risk of profile of all devices. So this classification would be more beneficial for manufacturers than importers because the importers are already taking approval from the CDSCO for all their devices. So these new rules they would basically reduce ambiguity and cut deals and product launches as there is a need to constantly update the classification with the changing time and changes in technology. The rules they also need to be updated. Experts pick holes in government claim of sharper employment growth. So, amid the acute job crisis, which are evident in low wage growth and data from independent agencies, the government it has taken certain steps, like the Labor Ministry, which is issuing a press statement where it cited that Banks (KLEMS) database to state that employees in the country row and 36% is compared to 7% increase in the previous decade. So experts they've seen that even self-employment and unpaid labor are counted in the data cited by the government and they raise the issue of deteriorating quality of jobs. So the Labor Ministry's latest claim of improving the employment scenario is consistent with the similar assessment. And agricultural employment increase is also a sign of distress in the job market. So over here, it basically means that workers that are unable to find jobs in other sector, and it also means the per worker productivity in agriculture has gone down dramatically as the worker population ratio from the PLFS is inflated with the population estimate, which is then used to give employment estimates. So the population projections are severe limitations because as per the National Family Health Service data, fertility rate it has declined in compared to the assumption that they made. And the when KLMS borrowed the employment data from the PLFS but not its absolute figures of the numbers of workers. And even the PLFS, they only provide share of workers in the population. In a first selection process for the next CEC cast wider's net. So this article is talking about the chief election commissioner choosing, and at current we have Rajiv Kumar as the chief election commissioner, and the next would also be chosen from the former bureaucrats. So the election commission it comprises of the chief election commissioner and two election commissioner as per the act and the appointment of both the chief election commissioner and the election commissioner it requires a search committee which is chaired by law minister to prepare a panel of 5 names for the selection committee And the senior election officials, they have also confirmed that the next chief election commissioner is to be picked by the way of a selection committee only. And as per Section 5 of the Chief Election Commissioner and another Election Commissioner Act 2023, the candidate for the post would be current or former secretary level officer. And in March 2022, the court ruled that the appointment of the election commissioner and chief election commissioner, it would be done by the president on advice of a committee which has prime minister, the leader of the opposition, and the chief justice of India. So this arrangement was to prevail until the parliament enacted a law for the appointment of the election commissioners. So, state owned national banks for financing infrastructure development are targeting its largest ever fundraising for January March period. And it has already received an approval from government owned banks for some of the borrowing from proposed credit facilities, which will be mostly for the longer term tenure of up to 10 to 20 years. And improving infrastructure is the key goal of the government, as the administration basically seeks to show up growth in one of the world's fastest expanding major economies. So, this article is regarding the fact checking norms and comes to why switching to community notes is that they feel that fact checking program did not meet the expectations as they were showed up in the choices made about what to fact check, and how adding that it has been enforcing rules limiting legitimate political debate and censoring too much trivial content. So Meta it wants to allow more speech by lifting restrictions on some topics that are part of mainstream discourse and focusing its enforcement on illegal and high security violation. So this decision would basically hurt social media users who are looking for accurate, reliable information to make decisions about their everyday lives and interactions. And they also reject Meta reason that fact checking was a tool to suppress free speech. So, by changing the mode of fact checking, Meta is not violating the law, and this decision should be seen in the context of whether quality fact checking will continue to happen in case it switches to community notes in India. So, one of the challenges with community notes would be coordinating manipulation from a section of users with the same agenda or political identity, which could impact the fact checking user using community notes given the crowdsourced nature. So the fact checkers, they will now have to depend on single project or crowdsourced funding to survive in this industry. And even as those companies they continue to do fact checking independently, this could somewhat impact the transaction of users on the website. A complex world order. So, with multiple wars conflicting the national interest, economic competition with the rising China, and the wish of some countries for multipolarity with beneficial ties with the US, who will dominate the world in 2025. So, over here, it is important to understand the India's stand on this. So, we talk about China and India. So, they share common ground for advocate multipolarity, even as their border dispute they remain unresolved. And China is no longer merely the world's factory or workshop. It is even challenging the US in technological innovation and design in technology areas like the AI. So, although India is the fifth largest global economy, its gaps in these areas is growing, not only in the West but also China. So, Indians, they have a high level of tech skills And this is one of the main sides that is hard for India to become a strong and convincing country in the multipolar world, since it is failing to keep up with China even after having necessary skills. So, with Trump coming up take the office, the US economy it has the highest growth, and its leadership in finance and AI is unchallenged. So the problem is not the Trump transactional approach. The question is what he will do with that approach and with US economic strength to help its friend, while also putting China and Russia at a disadvantage. So, like several countries, India hopes that US will not harm the interest. Generally, emerging economies they will also need to find ways of dealing with an America with which they often disagree, but they want good relations and friendship with. So, this year will show what India can do to strengthen its ties with US, as well as advancing its own national and international interests. When the makers of history die. So this article is talking about how the great rulers who win, who have made the history, and when they die, so what do they reflect upon? They go back to how and what all they have achieved in their long career. And an example of this is Maharaja of Travancore, who died in 1798, and how his 4 decade long career he conquered fresh territories from an old arrival defense of this and another possession from different enemy and a reputation as a dharmic ruler and more. So death of great personage it triggers a spectrum of responses and events. And then also we have can also take a recent example of Manmohan Singh, who died last month, and how he said that the history would be kinder to him. So luckily for historical figures, popularity and unpopularity are cyclical. When we reflect back to the history when Akbar died, Mughal emperor, in 1605, there was panic all around. As merchant Banarsi Dasi also wrote the letter of Jaunpur, where he talks about that townsfolk were afraid. So, whenever a great leader dies, or whenever someone who has contributed a lot to the community, there has often been areas of panics and chaos, or even riots everywhere. So, even though it sounds very crude, one man's death is also seen as the opportunity of another man's, and sometimes it's immense too. So, even the most remarkable people who are not immune to the fear of death and the weight of sins they accumulate in the exercise of their power, so they believe that while they would never know what posterity made of them, and they could manipulate divine judgment. So in India, we have had, after all, leaders whose religious grew in the tandem with the number of years they spent in office. So even if you fear the consequences of the actions, as death approaches, they could load your sense and hedge your bet. So this is what the article is highlighting: how death allows you to let go of the sins that you've done when you were in power, or the action that you were forced to take, even though you didn't want to. So this was it for today. Thank